Now for the final instrument, the piano chart. Thanks to the work we did on the horns and bass, a lot of the heavy lifting is already done. Nevertheless, this last instrument will still be a lot of work, as you can see on your hard copy. The reason is that while we've given almost complete freedom to the bass and drums, not to mention the sax solo, the piano part is critical in shaping the mood and character of the piece. The pianist would probably appreciate as much guidance as we can give them at first, and yet evolve their approach through time. Therefore, the piano part is going to be the ultimate test of everything we've learned so far in chart input, plus another couple of tricks. This chart will contain chord symbols, slash marks, and cues, plus some suggestions on chord voicings, fragments of soloing, and subchords in a different color. The composer-arranger has to decide what the pianist needs, and how best to give it to him while keeping the overall chart as simple and usable as possible. Remember, while the pianist can probably handle more sheets than the bassist or drummer, it's still best to keep things down to about 1 page turn, or 2 page turns at most. That's a maximum of 5 or 6 sheets for this movement in the dynamic part. Let's see how short we can get it. My call on this piece is that I want the pianist to see most of what I did in the demo, and yet not let that get in the way of individual initiative. So in the opening section, I'm going to notate a lot of the chord voicings, yet supply the chord symbols, so that the voicings may be eventually superseded. There are just so many different ways to voice these complex chords, and different voicings definitely result in different energy. I want to be clear from the start what kind of vibe I'm asking for here. Tense, forceful, dark, yet economic. No huge cluster chords or too widely spaced hands, except for the occasional chord melody. As the opening section progresses and the phrases start repeating, I subtract more and more chord voicings, maybe just a touch of suggested interplay here and there. Note how throughout, I use cue-sized notes, indicating to the pianist that anything written here is just a guideline, and not the final word by any means. Note how when the bass is just holding down a G, and the pianist is playing a stack of chords, that those extra chord symbols have a special look to them. They've been scaled back to gray, so the pianist knows that he's the only one playing those chords, and there may be another way of getting through that passage harmonically. Then the piano solo is pretty much all just a chord chart, as we've laid down the harmonic foundations in the opening. There are a couple of exceptions, though, where the solo contained a couple of bits too good to throw out. These are included as cues, once again indicating a suggestion, not a commandment. In fact, the only place in which the pianist reads full-sized notes is the break at figure C. The composer demands that bass, piano, and sax all play the same exact notes, no exceptions, on that unison riff. Aside from one more written-out counter melody, from there it's charts all the way to the end. Now that we've got a strategy for this chart, let's put it into action in our next video.